Welcome to the Scoop, Editor. How was your day today? Had a pretty good day today. Appreciate you guys being on here. We're going to break down some MVPs of camp over the last few days since Saturday. There's been one player that's been a superstar. Gonna talk a little bit about him. We're going to take your questions on the Michigan deal. Shout out to Menace to Sports, Zach and Chris. My phone was blowing up today because you guys sourced us and used this as a topic. Appreciate you guys. See you guys on Friday at the Menace meetup. Appreciate both you guys. It'll be absolutely awesome to see you and Justine, Ainsley, the whole crew. Looking forward to that. But as always, I appreciate you guys for being a part of the Scoop family. Grew by one today. We had a nice day today. Kim gave birth to our son, Cam. Cam Barton was born at 209. He is 8 pounds and 20 inches long. So big dude. She did great. They're feeling great. I was like, should I pod tonight? She's like, you got to go pod. And I was like, okay, well, I'll go pod. So we are here broadcasting tonight, a few hours out. I will head right back. I had to grab some stuff from the house anyway. So it all made logistical sense to head back to go to the hospital with her for the night. But forgot to stop in and see you guys for a little bit. Talk a little football. Nevada, how was your day?
Well, not as good as yours, man. That's like anytime we're talking about camp MVPs, we got to start with Kim. Kim is the camp MVP of this week and every week.
I told you what she said to me. She said, keep your foot on their throat. I was like, all right, let's go. So that's what we're doing. We're here, baby. Right. I mean, she's like, you can't let the Scoop family down. You can't do it. And I was like, all right, because a lot of people were like, are you gonna do that? I was like, I mean, this is Kim. This is Kim's third kid, and there's her and Cam doing great, feeling great. Really, was a nice. It was an amazing day. It was 2:09, so it was about 5 hours ago or so. But they're doing great, and it was a fun day. And I've got a couple sons at home, so I stop in, see them, check on them a little bit, and head back tonight. But yeah, football practice resumed today. Good media. Where should we start? Your Michigan stuff kind of blew the world up. So the impressions that we got, the amount of ats that we got on Twitter, the video went crazy last night. So yeah, it's good to be sourced up like we are on this thing because it is all coming together. Where do we start tonight?
Well, let's start with Michigan just to touch on it. And but again, I just want to say one more time, congrats. The kids are the greatest blessing in the world, and the only thing better than 2 kids is 3 kids. And the fact that you've got 3 boys running around the house is going to be just absolute pandemonium. And I'm just so excited for you guys. So, but now that we've got that, like I said, that's the important news. Then we get the kind of, sort of unimportant stuff. The Michigan coping has been really great. It's been fun as we break these stories. We have people come to the site, say stuff. They're sourcing. Rich Eisen Rich Eisen, the big famous Michigan alum, famously said today that it's not that big a deal that Connor Stalions recorded stuff because not all the stuff that was recorded was useful. That was his defense. That not all the stuff was. So the Oracle, who has a legal background, came in with the immediate lawyer question of saying, well, Mr. Eisen, what percentage of stolen video or illegal video stuff would be an acceptable level of percentage of that? Because it's so bad right now that the how Michigan fans are trying to minimize the behavior when Jim Tressel did his thing with players that were already on the team, existing players that were trading trinkets for services. So it didn't improve his team one bit. He didn't get an illegal player. These are guys already on the team. And you've got Jim Harbaugh out there cheating, trying to get contact guys illegally during the COVID period, lying to the NCAA about it. And to them, to Michigan fans, man, they just do not see any similarity. No, the Tressel thing is just a million times worse. I'm just never, it never ceases to amaze me, the delusion of the Michigan fan base. And every time I think it can't get worse or that they can't get dumber, they just stop themselves, and they do. So that is always a worthy topic. And I don't know, I know you've been kind of busy today, but I don't know if you saw the Eisen comments, but it was truly remarkable. Even for Michigan guys, it was truly, truly stupid.
I mean, there's just a lot of swirl. Like, their little M den or whatever just filed for like total bankruptcy, and they're closing locations. And I mean, if you own Buckeye Corner and Ohio State wins a national championship, that is literally like that's hitting like 10 jackpots in a row, like 10 hand pays in a row in Vegas. So for you to go out of business on the first national championship since '97, how bad does the fan base think that it is? So again, there's all these tells where people like to be brash, but money talks and BS walks in my world. And a lot of people, they're voting with their wallets right now. Listening, yeah, I don't know if I want to buy that Michigan hoodie. It's like, do I want to buy another Livestrong bracelet or another Livestrong T-shirt or another Livestrong hoodie? When, oh god, the stuff with Lance Armstrong really looks bad. Because again, they're the Lance Armstrong of football. Michigan is. I mean, Jim Harbaugh is Lance Armstrong. The Livestrong organization is Michigan football, and you're sitting there and you're just like, they're beyond reproach at this point. And again, people say, "Oh, we're in too deep." I'm like, no, like we know the facts. Like, I mean, again, like we're sourced to the gills on this thing, and it's really glorious seeing it all come together. And then Cheeseburger Gate drops, and it's a 1 year suspension and a 4 year show cause, and I even forgot. Again, I need to do some research, but like I even forgot that last year Sherrod Moore was suspended for the home opener. Like I totally forgot about that. I'm just like, so this guy is now the head coach, and he's got and he's and with the stuff that Stallions did, it's crazy. I mean, I think that the documentary is gonna be terrible for them. I'm sure that it'll be, like you said, you've got a film background. People don't know like a lot of the stuff that you've done, but that like when you're a guy like Hunter Stallions, like you're not getting final say. You're not like Urban Meyer in the Swamp Kings thing. Absolutely got final say. Connor Stallions, he doesn't have Urban Meyer, cachet and leverage, so he's not getting a final say in this thing. What do you think of this upcoming documentary? Like, do you think this will help Michigan, hurt Michigan? I can't think that him saying anything is going to help when he's literally not cooperating with the NCAA, but he can go sing like a canary to a documentary company via Netflix, which is crazy. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I said this before, but I really think this is like an important point. It's Michigan got served the notice of allegations from the NCAA on Cheeseburger Gate in January of 2023. So they get the notice of allegations, so they know they are under NCAA. This is an active NCAA investigation. People are getting show causes, probation, recruiting restrictions, everything. 8 months later, they roll Connor Stallions on the sideline to the Central Michigan game to record signals. So every they are the definition of a repeat offender. Like you said, Sherrod Moore was suspended for game one of the season. That's in August, September last year. 2 months later, 3 months later, but he deletes his text message thread with Connor Stallions in the midst of an active NCAA investigation. Commits infraction level 2 infraction number 2. So everything that's happening to these guys, they are the definition of a program that's out of control. They are the definition of a repeat offender. They're going to get hit with the stiffest penalties, and it's all there. Like I said, none of these are facts in dispute. Everything that I've just said is factual. You can just go look at the calendar, look at the thing, and just imagine what was going on at that football program. That after they get notice obligation number 1, that they can say to Connor, "Yeah, Connor, good idea. Go use your spy sunglasses and record the game at Central Michigan." Let alone all this stuff that we know is going on. But I'm talking about that one. We have documented video evidence of him there on the sideline dressed like a Central Michigan coach. Like somehow they thought this was a good idea, and it just shows you how desperate they'd become. How we've painted a picture of an athletic department through the stuff in the hockey program, the basketball program, and the football program that just it didn't matter. The only thing that mattered there, Michigan, was winning. And if you won, if you had any chance of winning, if you had any chance of beating your rival or doing anything, that Ward Manuel would cover for you to the end of the earth. He would put up with a coach for Michigan punching an opposing coach in the handshake line of a basketball game. That was okay. Assaulting players, okay. Sexual assault against women, fine. Falsifying medical reports, great. I mean, everything was fair game at Michigan. And so now that they've going to have penalties down, now their fan base is howling. Oh, we're the victims. Oh, this is not that big of a deal. Oh, Connor Stallions was a lone wolf. Guys, just look at the facts. You look at the facts, and it paints a picture of if there ever was a program that needed to be hammered by the NCAA, and it's just really a shame that they don't have the death penalty anymore. Because if there ever was one that was calling for it, actually begging for it, it's this one. I think this one's worse than SMU. I think this one's worse than they won't get the death penalty because the NCAA is just not going to do that anymore. But if you go step by step, this scandal's way worse, far deeper reaching, and much more pronounced than the SMU one, and where they very, very famously got the death penalty. Michigan, it's screaming for it. They won't get it, but they deserve it.
I agree, and I think like a lot of the recruiting stuff that's come out, where the recruiting coordinator who did talk to the NCAA said that like during the dead periods and during COVID, like Jim Harbaugh said, hey, go up to the line and go over the line and get people on campus. Like, I mean that is, yeah. I mean, obviously the desperation is mystifying at that point when you're just openly breaking a rule. Because again, like when you do something like that, like a lot of those kids that you're hosting aren't going to end up at Michigan. So if they get caught in an investigation, like I mean they're going to talk and they're going to say, hey, this is what happened. And I mean that happened in Hamburger Gate, where kids that were there didn't go to Michigan, and they sat there. It was 6:30 in the morning, and he rolls in late. He gets a hamburger and a milk, and those kids that didn't go to Michigan, they're saying this is exactly what happened. This when it was. So I mean, the risk versus the reward is like it's so out of whack when you're like saying, hey, we're gonna host a kid this we're gonna host Kirk Barton this weekend on campus, and his family, and we're gonna take him to breakfast, and we're gonna break like 10 rules in a row. Like all it takes is for one parent who might not even be like malicious, just being curious. And like if I'm some 4-star kid or 5-star kid or whatever, and Michigan's calling me, and Jim Harbaugh and position coach and whoever, like, hey, why don't you come visit this weekend? And I'm like, well, I would call like Alabama or Georgia or whoever and say, hey, we're gonna go see Michigan this weekend. Can we come see you guys after? Or like, hey, Michigan State, you guys are kind of in the same area, or even Ohio State, you're 4 hours away. Can we come down and see you? If we come see Michigan on Saturday, can we come see you on Sunday? And all it would take is for Mark Pantoni or for one of the the position coaches or whoever to say, you're not allowed to do that. That's completely illegal. They're doing that. And then it would be the easiest report ever for like Ohio State or whoever to turn that in on Michigan. So again, like that's why it's stupefying to me that you're like inviting these kids on campus when no one's allowed to be on campus. Like during the COVID stuff, during the dead period where everything was turned off. There was no visits, no official visits, no nothing. Like I remember, like I think was it Trey or one of these guys that, I think JK I don't know too, that they never came to Ohio State and they still committed and came here and played. So during that COVID time, there were kids that were coming here that hadn't been here, which is insane. But I'm just telling you, it's like that's the thing that was crazy to me, is because when it's so easy to get caught, because you're literally eating out in the open at a restaurant, how people are. I mean, like people recognize me all over the place. And again, I'm not. That's not like something where I'm like, hey, look at me. Like people recognize me, but people do. So if you're some 5-star recruit who people that are really in love with recruiting like recognize, hey, there's David Sanders Jr. or whoever walking around with Justin Fry at Town Hall or wherever, like, if someone's really astute and they're like, well, I thought it was a dead period, or I thought they're not supposed to be there, or they get on, our website and they ask us and say, hey, are we allowed to have official visitors this weekend or unofficial visitors? And we say, I don't think so. it's just so easy to get caught. Like that was the thing that blew my mind about Hamburger Gate is like there's like little stupid like rules that get broken on accident sometimes. Like I remember Doc Trussell got written up by our compliance team because he accidentally texted somebody because he just forgot that it was a dead period, whatever it was. But it was like someone was like coming to the stadium and asked, do we go to gate 22B or whatever, or 22A, whatever the recruiting gate is, and Doc Trussell wrote yes, and that was a violation because like you weren't allowed to text message, but it wasn't like he sent him a Venmo. He literally just said like something stupid and didn't think like that's like a little innocuous one. But like when you're like meeting with people out in the open, because I've heard that guys that do that, and I'm just like, the way I know that our fans are, and the way that I know that like message board, we have a great message board for the Scoop, but there's message board people. These kids are ultra visible now because they're all on Instagram, they're all on Twitter. People, especially now that we really whittle down the recruiting class. Like if there's some random kid who's uncommitted and he's out to eat with one of our coaches on campus somewhere or at Urban Meyer's Pint House or something, like there's a really good chance that someone's going to recognize you. And even more so if you're with one of the coaches. Like if Jim Harbaugh walked into a restaurant in Ann Arbor or Urban Meyer, if Ryan Day walked into Urban Meyer's Pine House with some 6'5", offensive tackle looking kid, it would take about 8 seconds to look up, who's in town or who's on our list or whatever. And that was the most shocking thing about the Michigan thing for me, is I'm like, I just can't believe that they would do that in that town with Jim Harbaugh eating breakfast at a restaurant with a recruit who's a big kid, and thinking that he could get away with that.
But Kirk, that's the whole point. The whole point was that like they were just completely shameless in their cheating. Like they didn't care, because any person with a functioning brain is looking at it and kind of going, man, bad idea. Really bad idea. This can't work. That we're going to get caught. We're going to get reported. Michigan didn't care. They didn't care. They were stealing signals and doing that right out in the open, and having the Geppetto that was stealing them sit right next to Minter and shout out the plays on them on national TV. They didn't care. And I think that's why the NCAA's got. I mean, if there ever was a case the NCAA's got to get involved, it's this one. Because if this goes unpunished or punished less than it should be, man, it's open season, and the NCAA knows that. It would be over for the NCAA, because no rules would be worth enforcing anymore, because everybody would point to this and go, well, Michigan did this and they got away with it, so we just don't care what rules you. I mean, I'll hack the helmet communications for Michigan. I mean, we'll do it. I mean, everything will become fair game at that point in time. And I think what you just perfectly described is the perfect Michigan mentality of, they didn't care, because if they felt that it helped them in any way, shape, or form have a chance to win, it was fine with them. The rules did not apply to those guys, and I think they're going to learn right fast that the rules do apply to them.
Yeah, like I said, it was so like obvious. I think that's the beautiful thing about Michigan people, is like they defend all that. And I'm like, you guys can't like just defend openly, blatantly breaking rules. It's like, especially like with the Spygate stuff. And again, in that report, which is just a draft, when they say, he took hard drives from the building, and he left a signal sheet with somebody else and or whatever. And I'm just like, why would you remove hard drives from the building if there's nothing on the hard drives that would be incriminating? And I'm talking about like big time, because again, like if there's nothing on the hard drives, like take it. Like I mean, it's like when someone says like, Kirk, you did this, and I'm like, here, go through my emails, find an email that says I did that, find a text message, I dare you. Now if I take my phone and throw it in the ocean or something, then I'll say, oh, what's going on? Throw the hard drives in the ocean, or burn them, or light them on fire. Okay, what's going on? But it's I don't know, man. Like when a guy runs out of Schembeckler Hall and takes his hard drives, and they're like, where are the hard drives at? I don't know. What hard drives? I mean, because like somehow that got into the notice. Like that was one of the things I was like, so this guy who had all this film obviously stored it on an external hard drive, took the hard drives, then he didn't cooperate, and I'm like, and like he thinks he's going to get away with that because somehow they figured that out. Somehow they figured out that, well, where'd these hard drives go? Because again, you have to remember on these computer systems at these universities, everything is backed up. Everything that you plug in, everything that you take out, everything that you whatever, it's constantly on this looping backup plan. So when you plug your hard drive into a computer and you move files around and stuff, it copies all that. So they figure out that, well, where did this hard drive go that was a 5 terabyte Toshiba hard drive or whatever, and why isn't it here anymore? Where did it go? Why does it say it was serial numbered to Cotter Stallions or whatever? So it's not. This isn't like this is some 007 caper here. This is like the this is something else. Got a bunch of super chats. Nevada. The Bucks are cranking through camp. God, it is flying by. I mean, it's already I mean, it's basically like the season's here. We're at week 0 now. That'll be really exciting. As we get into this, I am ecstatic about Brandon Ennis. I cannot wait to see Brandon Ennis. I know that everyone's excited about JJ, but Brandon Ennis is like the alpha of that crew, and they're all alphas. But like Brandon's like the alpha. Brandon was the guy that was, he was the guy he was at SFE for 5 years, and he was a varsity guy when he's an 8th grader, which is extremely rare for South Florida Express, and he's the talkative one. JJ's not a big talker. Carnell's not a big talker. Brandon is very, very talkative, and he is. I'm just so excited from what I'm hearing that it's all systems go. The lights are clicking on, and I think he's going to have a monster role in this offense, and I think he's going to play. I think that there's going to be some touches in the ground game. I don't think he's going to be a conventional running back. Obviously, with Quinshawn and Trey, that's kind of out of the question. But I think they're going to manufacture some running touches for him because that's kind of the skill set that he has, and he's very similar to a Mecca. I think he's more physical than a Mecca. I think a Mecca is probably a little bit quicker, but Brandon is a physical dude. Who are some other guys that you're hearing about in camp? Because this has been, it's kind of turning up now at camp. Like post the second scrimmage, it's kind of like, you guys have all ridden like the Magnum or the Millennium Force, like the big roller coasters at Cedar Point. It's like when you get to that second scrimmage, which is Saturday, that's like the top of the hill. Now it's just like the things flying down the hill. That's where they're at in camp right now. But Brandon was the MVP of the scrimmage on Saturday. The people I talked to said he was unguardable, just nasty. And Chip loves to motion these guys around, man. He likes to motion them. He likes to do these little flare motions out of the backfield. With Quinshawn, Quinshawn's been a little dinged, so he's been limited. He doesn't need to practice that much anyways, but he's had a little ding. So it really helped Brandon shine. I mean, Brandon they got James Peoples back there. James Peoples is getting the mother load right now because they don't really need to kill Trey, and Quinshawn's been digged. So James Peoples he's the dude right now. So like it or love it, you better love that ice tub, man. Because after practice, when you're getting 40 plays or 40 reps, that's like basically playing a game every day. So who are some other guys you're hearing about Nevada?
Well, a couple of defensive guys. I mean, we've talked about them before. You touched on them, but Arvell Reese at linebacker and Cade McDonald on the defensive line are both. I mean, I would have never thought for a second. I mean, Arvell Reese, I've been hearing some good things about, but man, that linebacker room's busy because you've got Cody and CJ and Sonny and Gabe Powers, but you got to play him. I mean, he's so good, and he's a physical freak. I mean, he's big. He could end up at defensive end. I mean, he's a big kid, and I mean, I love everything that he did, and he's just gotten better and better and better with every practice in the fall. And Caden is just a horse. He is a big. We talked about those big, whether with floppy bellies or whatever we want to call them, there on the defensive line, and how those guys were hard to come by. And Tyleek's a special breed, and that's one of the reasons why he's been so valuable. But man, Caden is a monster and very, very difficult to move. You talk to the offensive lineman, almost universally, he's one of the most difficult guys. They're saying he's almost impossible to move. With one guy, it takes a second guy there to move around because he's a big man and he's a youngster. But those are two guys on defense. I mean, because we all know the starters. It's all we could talk about Jack Sawyer and JT and all those guys so the cows come home. But Cade and Arvell, man, they are really, really good looking players. Guys that are absolutely demanding playing time, and they're going to get meaningful playing time. I'm not talking about playing time just when we're playing Akron and it's 51-0. I'm talking about when it matters, they're going to find a way to get these guys on the field. And Ohio State seems committed to playing more guys this year. They've told the players that. They've told the parents that. They've made that kind of a core tenet of the staff. Now they got to do it in practice once the bullets start flying. Maybe Ryan not playing being the play caller will enable him to be more of a CEO and make sure more of this stuff happens. But I'm looking forward to seeing some of these younger kids playing because they're really, really impressive and part of the reason why we have such great depth.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a great start to the year. Again, it's atrociously bad, but again, I like it because you really get a when I'm a position coach, like if I'm Justin Fry, I'm like saying, guys, like you seconds, you twos, you're going in this game, so you better get your mind right. Like I mean, because when you're playing Notre Dame to start the season, or some of these other teams, like if you're the second team, you're like I'm probably not getting into this one, but you got to prepare just in case someone gets hurt. But this Akron game, like you're playing, and you might play a lot, and you're going to be playing, like a lot of these guys will be their first college action, so I think that when you can prepare these guys, and plus the thing that's been great about the NCAA is they changed the redshirt rule where you can play true freshmen. You can play the Armstrong twins. You can play Ian Moore, some of these young guys, and see what they got, see what they can shake out, because you really want to see can any of these true freshmen get rolling into the rotation to potentially get ready to go for the stretch or for next year. So I'm really excited about a lot of these guys. It'll be really exciting to see what young guys make an impact on special teams, like guys like Garrett Stover, Peyton Pierce. Like I would bet a large sum that one of those two will probably be core special teams guys that won't redshirt. I've always said at Ohio State, good linebackers don't redshirt. They play special teams. They play kickoff. They play kick return. Kick return doesn't really exist anymore, but they're running down on kickoffs. They're on the punt team. They're doing a lot of the ancillary stuff that they don't have to keep Cody. You don't want Cody Simon and Sonny Styles on those teams. As much as I get, Tress always had a lot of conviction where he'd put AJ Hawk on it, and I love that stuff. But let some of these young guys earn their checks. You don't have to have AJ out there on the punt team. Now again, I get you set the tone and you have your best players on those units. I totally get that. Totally get that. And again, I could be the guy that says, oh well, we put the twos out there, then we get a punt block, and then I look like a doofus, which I totally get that too. But I want to see these young guys play. And I was always real big on that second team on line, get them out there on the field goal unit, the field goal protection unit. Don't have a guy blow his knee out on field goal protection like I did when you could have the second team guys standing there and absorb a blow. Like a cat, I mean, you guys, a lot of you guys probably don't pay attention to the field goals, but when you're on field goal protection, man, it is brutal. I mean, guys get steamrolled in there, and it sucks. And I mean, like I said, I got my knee blown out against Penn State in 05, and frankly, it cost us the game because we couldn't block Tom Bahali at the end of the game, a guy that I never gave up a pressure against. So that sucked. But I'm really excited to see, the development of Sonny Styles. I think is going to be fascinating. I talked to some more people about Sonny. He's going to be our starting will. I mean, that's going to be as good of a front six as I've ever seen. When you talk about Cody Simon, and again, Cody Simon, you can look it up. In 2001, I was talking about Cody Simon, and I was like, people laughed. I said this guy's a lot like AJ Hawk, and people were like, Kirk, you must have been in the Mick Ultras again or something. And I'm like, nah, it's more like he's got the mannerisms. He's a leader. He's a ferocious competitor. And he's supremely athletic. And so I was like, that sounds just like AJ Hawk. Now, production-wise, obviously, he's not where AJ was, anywhere close to that. I mean, AJ was already the 5th pick of the draft by this point in his career, but Cody had a ton of injuries. So, but he's healthy now, and he's like a cyborg now. And I said years ago that he could be an All-American. So if he actually becomes an All-American this year, then that'll be one of those long bets where it's like those long shots where I'm like, yeah, I told you Cody was good. But he's got the kind of the momentum where that could happen, because I think he's going to have a ton of tackles. I think he's always been a great blitzer. He's a guy that really really is explosive, and he's a guy that can get home. And I just think that, when you want to do right by the program, if you're a guy like Ryan Day and these guys, like, you want to promote like a great upperclassman, a great story, great perseverance, like those kind of guys can gather a lot of momentum in a season where Ohio State's going to be dominating on defense. And well, who are the guys that you want to promote for All-American? Well, Jack Sawyer. You want to promote Cody Simon. Obviously, Caleb Downs is going to make All-American no matter what. Denzel. But they always pick like 4 or 5 guys because you can't promote everybody. And our department doesn't really promote anybody, which is sad. But you got to pick your guys that you promote for awards and stuff. And Cody not being on the Buckeyes list was insane. They put CJ Hicks on it, and CJ's not even going to start. But he was a 5-star, and Cody's been around for 4 years, so I guess he's forgotten about. So, but I'm as excited to watch Cody Simon as probably JJ Smith, and honestly, and Jack Sawyer. Like Jack Sawyer, those are the guys that, because Jack's lighter, and man is he fast, and man is he strong, and I mean, and he wants to get double-digit sacks. You're playing 16, 17 games. I mean, it's very attainable at this point. But I think that those are the 3 guys I'm dying to watch. Any other thoughts about it? We could dig in. We've got like 9 super chats, so we'll start digging into some super chats.
Well, I just think it'd be great if Cody was a first-team All-American and was given a tree next to our tree in the Grove. What a fitting thing! It'd be like the Cody Simon tree and then the Burke Nevadabuck tree right next to each other. Our trees could talk all the time and hang out and stuff like that. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, they could like jump around. The trees could jump over next to each other and stuff. It's like
exactly.
they like jump around like they're the broomsticks in Fantasia. They just like bounce
Exactly.
around, climb the stairs and stuff. Yeah.
Like, hey, welcome to the Grove. There, we'd have to come there together and welcome him to the Brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Hello, Cody.
The Brotherhood is real. I got bashed for that. I said I don't want everybody in the Brotherhood. Everyone's like, oh, everyone's in the Brotherhood. I was like, I don't want our Schlesser can stay out of the Brotherhood. I'm good. There's about 50 other guys that can say, yeah, I don't want him in there either. So, but again, I'm not the judge and the jury. It's whatever. But everybody wants everybody in there. But let's get into these super chats. Coco Von Coconut. That is a great name. And those coconuts actually look really good. Taking some coconut milk. Thank you for being an Ultra member. Thank you for being the 50. That is a great name. Coco Von Coconut. It's like Von. It looks like Koopa, like the bad guy from the Mario Brothers. All right. Here's a small gift from Coco and the Coconut. Appreciate you guys both. Hooray. You wanted to hang a 5th Buckeye stocking for the mantle for Christmas this year. Welcome, baby Kim. Congrats to blessings to the entire Barton family. Barton 5K. Oh, I like that. Ooh, I think we're onto something. Barton 5K. That's great. Hashtag OHL. I appreciate you, Coco Von Coconut. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, Kim's doing great. I'm going to head back to see her after the show. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. We're really excited and can't wait to get him home tomorrow. That'll be the best part. And meet the dogs.
Well, hold on. Before you go on that one,
what's up?
I mean, that 5K. I mean, Kirk, like I said, the only thing better than 3 kids is 4 kids, man. And the only thing better than 4 kids is 5 kids. So you and Kim should go out and think about like, hey, we're not gonna have another kid. You guys go out and like adopt some sort of like hockey phenom from Romania or something like that. You guys could do that.
I mean, that'd work. I mean, we could send them to Penn State.
You could have tryouts. You could have tryouts for them and stuff like that. You tryouts be like, I want to be adopted by you, Mr. Barton. Like, go skate, kid. Let's see your edges. Go. Come on, that'd be awesome. You could pick your own kid.
I was debating because I wonder like if my kid's a 5-star tackle, like would Ohio State be able to get him? You think or no? Or did it be Georgia?
No.
Georgia's getting a good one. Texas. He's like, oh god, he's going to Tennessee. I'm like, no.
He's going to Kentucky for the music program or something like that.
Yes, he's like Antonio Hall. He's going to go play the piano. That'll work out great. I'm going to go play the piano instead of being a Buckeye. Oh my god. Contributor to the Hugh. Thank you for the 5. Love the show. Usually watch the day after. Do we think that Will Howard is going to be a 1st round pick? Nevada OH. I mean, God, I don't know. I mean, Bo Nix was a first round pick, and I mean, 2 years ago, people. I mean, he was like, wasn't he a legacy at Auburn? Like, did his whole family go to Auburn? And he started as a freshman at Auburn and beat Alabama as a freshman. And I mean, after 3 years, they're ready to throw him out with the trash, aren't they? And now he's starting for the
Yeah.
Denver Broncos as a rookie, right?
I mean, look, Bo Nix, Penix, JJ, those guys all going there first. Why couldn't Will? I mean, if I'd have given you the triumvirate, if I said, "Hey, Kirk, all three guys have to go in the first round," what kind of odds are you going to on JJ, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix? I mean, you'd have given me a 100 to 1 on that.
Dude, but yeah,
Easy.
Michael, the guy from Indiana is going to go in the first round. I mean, even after I watched him against Texas, I didn't think he was a first round pick. I thought he was like a mid round, like cutesy, like kind of developmental quarterback. I didn't think he was a first round pick. And Atlanta, who like lost their minds, took him. After they gave Kirk Cousins $150 million or $200 million, or whatever they gave him. So it's like, but again, the thing you have to realize is a lot of these general managers are impossibly stupid. And so, you know, I mean, we've seen guys go in the first round. And I mean, like Paxton Lynch went in the first round. We've seen guys that were just like, there's just no way, no how, there's no way that guy's going to be any good. And sure enough, like they're not any good. So Brandon Weeden went in the first round. He was like 30 years old when the Browns took him. The Browns, like the deans of the NFL draft class, the Cleveland Browns. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think he could be again if there's ever a circumstance that could get him into the first round. Is playing in Chip Kelly's offense, soft schedule to start, Ryan Day coaching him to death, and having the best infrastructure in the universe. I mean, he's got again, Joe Burrow going into his senior year was looked at as a seventh round pick, and that was at LSU. Like nobody, that's the thing. There's one of the greatest revisionist history moments in the history of Ohio State football was the Haskins versus Burrow thing. All these people were saying, "I told you that Joe Burrow was better than Haskins." Like they're saying that now after he signed a $500 million extension. And obviously Dwayne had his untimely passing and had a bunch of issues. Went to the Redskins, which again, I always like when kids go into the NFL draft. The only prayer that I have is that they go to good organizations. That's it. Good situations. Like Dwayne goes to the worst organization in the NFL, Daniel Snyder. So when Daniel Snyder overrules everybody and takes him because he's from Maryland, then he's given to a coach and a GM who don't want him, and they treat him like they don't want him, and they coach him like they don't want him, and then it turns into a quagmire. And I don't think Dwayne was ready to play in the league anyways. I thought he was immature. He should have came back. And if he had came back for another year of coaching under Ryan, probably be a lot better. I mean, there's a reason why I think most quarterbacks should stay for 4 years because the NFL, once you get to the NFL, man, it's no joke. You don't get coddled and another year of college. You look at the bust rate on the 3 and out guys, it's pretty high. But there's all these people that say that we should have kept Joe Burrow and had Haskins transfer out. I'm like, dude, Dwayne Haskins, when he started as a redshirt sophomore, threw for 50 touchdowns, and he had the greatest throwing season in school history. So, and that same year, Joe Burrow, who was a year older, was not very good at LSU. And then he turned into, like I said, his senior year, took the limitless pill and gave Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase limitless pills, and they turned into the greatest offense in college football history. So, I don't know, but I mean, like we saw the transformation Joe Burrow made when they got Joe Brady as the play caller, which is like us getting Chip Kelly. And then we saw the type of infrastructure he had. I mean, we don't have Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, but we got, JJ and Emeka, and we've got better running backs than they do. Like there's a human being on this earth who's taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who was a first round pick over Quinshawn and Trey. There's a human being on there. So, I mean, we've got better running backs. So we'll see. Like I said, do I want to stamp him as a first round pick? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it kind of depends on who's picking there. Do I think he's a high first round pick? Probably not. But if he has a monster year and is a Heisman finalist, like could he be a first round pick? When I've seen Paxton Lynch go in the first round, and I saw Cody Pickett go in the first round, and I see there's a lot of a lot of stiffs go in the first round, and they reveal that they're stiffs very quickly. And Will Allen, with his character, his athletic ability, if they can hone in his accuracy, which they are. I mean, he's been dialed in during camp. He's been dotting guys in camp, throwing strikes. So why not? Any thoughts on that, Nevada?
You said Will Allen because you love Will Allen so much, but you meant Will
Oh, my
Howard.
bad. Will
But we all
Howard,
know
of
who you
course.
meant.
Well, because I always think of Will
Will
Howard and
Allen would
Josh.
be.
I always say Josh Howard and Will Allen. Josh
Yeah,
Howard.
exactly.
Josh Allen, Will Howard. Because when I think of him, I always compare him to Josh Allen. So I just call him Will Allen. It's like I morphed the two together. And I turned him into a safety. He's one of my favorite players ever. So I apologize. Again, it has been a kind of long day. So I'm sorry if I got a little bit of fog there. So it's been a long day for the Barton clan. So go ahead.
Well, it was funny because before the draft last year, like long before the draft, I was talking to Colin Coward, and he was like, "I'm telling you about it. JJ McCarthy's first round draft pick," and I'm like, "Dude, you're out of your mind." I'm like, "You're crazy." He goes, "Dude," he goes, "I talked to the GMs. The position quarterback is just so overpowered that he's gonna get taken. He'll get taken in the top 20 picks." And I'm like, Cal, I will bet you anything he doesn't get taken in the top 20 picks. He's like, no, I'm not going to take your money, but I'm just telling you, it is going to happen. And he called it like long before. And I thought it was the most preposterous thing that I'd ever heard in my entire life. So after I've seen that, after I saw the draft last year, the question of whether Will Howard could be a first round pick in the NFL draft, sure he could. I think he's got a chance to win the Heisman, and you're going to be the starting quarterback on the best team in the country, a legendarily good team in a legendarily good offense. Why not? So yeah, I'll say Will Howard could go in the first round. Absolutely, final answer.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly where I'm at. Because again, a lot of these GMs are really desperate and they need a quarterback, so they will roll the dice on a guy that you're like, that's tall cotton for a first rounder, man. And it's like, if they get the right guy, then great. But like I'm watching like Daniel Jones. I'm watching like some really bad quarterbacks that go high, but I mean he's adequate. I mean he's still starting in the league, so I don't know. Like I mean you always see guys that have these meteoric rises, and why couldn't he be that guy? I mean especially with the way Ryan Day puts guys in the league, and his pedigree with. I mean, I think Justin Fields is kind of an anomaly because he had such a bad situation in Chicago where they had the chance to get Caleb Williams and have him on a 5-year rookie deal. And I mean, I kind of understand why they did that with Justin. Haskins was interesting. I mean, CJ Stroud could be the MVP of the league this year. So, I mean, but you still have 3 first rounders. So Ryan's, he's been cooking with that. Sergio Sama, thank you for the 10. Congrats, Kirk, Rich, and the Michigan fan base are so delusional and unhinged from reality. They really are. They're almost as delusional as I love you. I can't read that. We don't do the politics stuff, but I really appreciate you, Sergio. Yeah, I think that the Michigan crew is. I think they're starting to get a little bit more cautious. Especially after you see the notice of allegations. They had the water carriers like Pete Thamel get on there and say, well, nothing's going to happen and whatever, because again, that was the deal. Like, hey, we'll get this. We get to break this big story, but you also have to kind of get out in front of it. Again, this is like PR 101. Michigan has their PR firm on a retainer that's probably, on overdrive right now. And, I just, I don't know. Like, I mean, if I knew that if this was Ohio State and they had some Connor Stalions guy who stole all this film and he's hiding hard drives and doesn't cooperate, and Jim Harbaugh like keeps lying and saying that he's not a liar, but then like something comes out and says, well, in reality, you're telling your recruiting staff to go to the line and go over the line. And again, like when a guy's desperate, which Jim Harbaugh, you have to remember, like Ward Manuel cut his salary by 50%, which is the biggest FU in the world to an employee. But Jim Harbaugh didn't have anywhere to go because he was, he was the plane flying, or he was the car flying off the cliff at that point in his career at Michigan. But magically, Geppetto shows up and says, hey, we can get this huge edge, and this is how I'm going to do it, and blah, blah, blah. And okay. And Jim Harbaugh's like, I will do anything. I will sell my soul to the devil to be able to get my coaching career back to the trajectory that it was at before he got to Michigan. Because when he got to Michigan, I was like, okay, him and Urban that's going to be the new Bo and Woody. It's going to be the 10-year war. It's going to be great. And Urban just dog walked him every year. So it was like, I guess not. And so when they started cheating and he could get his arc back to, NFL owners being interested in paying him an ungodly amount of money, then it worked. So I don't know about it. The Rich Eisen thing, I'll have to watch that tonight when I head back to the hospital. But it was pretty spectacular. The fact that they're very very bendable. Like the way that it's like the Matrix, and they're dodging all these allegations and all these facts, and they just try to duck and dodge everything, and it's something somewhat of a spectacle. But your thoughts on the delusion of Michigan fans, Nevada?
Well, I want to make one point you made about the Thamel thing. When the Thamel thing had come out, I had said, you know, I really believe that Michigan had to have leaked this to Thamel because it was the only thing that made sense to me. And we had talked about that. Well, I can confirm now with 100% certainty that that's where it came from. It went from Michigan to Thamel. That was the leak of the information, and that's why Thamel did it. So I am moving that from Nevadabuck thinks, and I tell you, like I said, I'll tell you when I think something. I'll tell you when I don't know something. I'll tell you when I know something. I know that one. So Thamel got that information from Michigan. And so, when he came out the next day, well, I don't think anything's going to come of this. Well, sure you don't, Pete. Let's revisit this one. He'll go with well, I didn't know how serious it was, or the NCAA's being big meanies or something like that. But no, he got that from Michigan, and he just he playing along with the delusion. But I think even the delusional Michigan fans are kind of seeing the light now, because you're starting to see the narrative turn nationally about the Michigan thing. It's starting to get, and wait till the NOA hits. When Notice of Allegation 2 hits, it's going to be seismic, because then people are going to be able to see it with their own eyes, and then there'll be no hiding anymore.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's see, we got Sean Kretka. Thank you for the 10. Congrats to the Barton family. Appreciate you, my man. Thanks for being on here every night. Zach Smith did say he doesn't believe your report is true. I do wonder how no one else has been given this information. Time will tell. DNC actually hammers UM. Well, I talked to Zach. I mean, I didn't hear him say that, and he didn't say that when I talked to him on the phone. But he's going with our sources, and again, we've been ahead on everything so far. So again, we're not just like randomly throwing stuff at the wall and saying, "Wow, magically it's in the notice of allegations and what we're saying is all true." Nevada, your thoughts? Because again, I talked to Zach, 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago, and because I was talking about his show, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, I was like, it's crazy, it's wild." But we'll see. Your thoughts on that?
Look, everything we've said, if you're a regular listener on the show, every single thing that we said about the scandal has been true. Everything, it's not an opinion. It's not Nevadabuck saying it. It's not Kirk Barton agreeing. Nothing. It's all you've all seen. We've told you when stuff was going to happen. We told you who the players were. We told you. I mean, there's a reason why Central Michigan fired their offensive coordinator right before the thing. There's a reason why Chris Partridge got fired. There's a reason why Sharon Moore got a second. We told you about Sharon Moore getting a show cause. We told you before anybody in the world had that. We said Sharon Moore is going to get a show cause. We did a show on that. And we did with the little crying Sharon Moore thing. And everybody said, what could Sharon Moore get a show cause about? Lying to obstructing the investigation with the NCAA. Like that's what he's getting a show cause for. So I am supremely confident when this whole thing's said and done that I know I'm not guessing on this one. I'd like to say there was some drama, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see how this unfolds. I know how it's going to unfold. I just don't know when it's going to unfold, because the timing is somewhat dependent on whether or not Michigan throws themselves on the mercy of the court and accepts the punishment and self-imposes this year. But the ultimate outcome, they're going to get hammered, and again, not a guess. As I've said from day one, I'm willing to take bets on this. So anybody, you guys know how to get a hold of me. Go to Buckeye Scoop at gmail.com. If you're like, no, Nevadabuck, you're just making this up, and Michigan's going to get an apology, and just send me your money. Let's get it on. and we'll put it in an escrow account, and we'll see who's ultimately right.
Yeah, I totally agree. Jose Alvarez, thank you for the 20. Madoff was rich before the scheme and didn't need it. True. Imagine if after he got caught, he took the fraudulent fortune to make a larger fortune. I think the IRS would say, well, he didn't need the scheme. He's good. That is a great point. Again, that's kind of like well, not all of the film was usable. And it's like, well, yeah, but I mean, that would be like if somehow like you watched every ounce of film on some opponent upcoming, and you said, well, most of it wasn't usable, so it doesn't matter or whatever. That's like what it's Rich like. Where Rich Eisen says that a lot of film isn't usable. Like that's just football. You know what football boils down to? The film that can provide value to you and give you some sort of an edge or some sort of an insight into what you can expect. So when you're breaking like signals, yeah, if I took 7 hours of film and the down marker guy walked in front of the signaler, or some fat guy was standing up holding we had a popcorn bin and I missed the signal, like you could say, well, yeah, that doesn't count because you can't see the signaler. But like when Ohio State breaks down tape and they're getting ready for Akron or whatever the opponent is, like, if it's not week one, you could break down all the games and whatever, but say it's like week 7, week 6, we're playing like Iowa, and Iowa runs like 2 tight ends and runs the ball. Like, when you're breaking down that film, like I was a bad example because they've run the same defense since Kirk 30 years, however long Kirk France has been, they've run the exact same defense, like nothing's changed. Say you're playing like Michigan State, different schemes, different coaching staff, whatever. You don't generally break down every game. You break down games that have teams that run your similar scheme. So, with our spread stuff that we do, if they say Michigan State opened up with Army or somebody, they run the triple option, like you're not even going to break that game down because the way that they defend that isn't going to make sense versus how they're going to defend us. So, I mean, you could watch it, but you're not really going to get anything out of it. You want teams that run similar concepts to what you run, so you can kind of project what they're going to do against you. That was big with when we when we had Urban's offense and I was the GA and we had this power spread offense that we ran. Like if a team was straight 5 wide, spread the field, never anything in the backfield, just shut. If they're like Texas Tech or Mike Leach, like we generally would not break that game down because it's like, well, they're not going to defend us like that. Or if they're playing like Wisconsin and they're in double tight ends with a fullback and running counter and power and zone over and over again, like probably not going to break that either. But we'll break down, we'd like to break down competitive snaps, which is when the game is still close. Because when it's not competitive, then they can basically just kind of get off. It can mess your breakdowns up. But I don't know, like when you finally boil it down, there's not a lot of film that really can give you a good gauge of what you're going to see. But that's the whole point of like with Rich Eisen. Rich Eisen says, well, not all of the film was usable that Connor Steins had, or not much of it was. I'm like, well, that's how football is every week. Not every ounce of film that you see is something that you can use in a game plan. But like when you're Connor Steins and you figure out that, hey, this is their fake punt signal, or hey, this is their this is what the signal is for their inside zone play, or this is what it is, their number, for like, again, when the one where he said, hey, it's run to the right, he figured out our evens. So if it was 2, 4, 6, 8, he figured out what that was because, if it's a low number and then a high number, usually that's a running play, and that's not an Ohio State thing. That's just football in general. If it's like 28, 38, that's our run series. 46, like whatever. And then usually higher numbers are pass protections. So he was able to figure that out. Again, he's not some genius, but he's been around football enough to figure out that, football isn't really that hard to break if you know what you're doing. And if you put in a little bit of work, it's just like, okay, this is run to the right, this is run to the left. And just that alone is a monstrous advantage to calling a defense. Like if you say, hey, Kirk, they're running to the right, safety blitz, both safeties coming down, corner fire, whatever. As long as you're nailing it, I'm calling it off you. You know, now if you miss it a few times, you make me look like a moron, and I call a corner blitz and they throw a dime to Marvin Harrison and he torches our safety, then we're gonna have a little talk. But if you're nailing it, then it's the biggest advantage you could. It's honestly I don't know if you could have a bigger advantage in sports. You know, it's kind of like tipping pitches in baseball, but you still got to hit the baseball. You know, hitting a baseball that's moving at 100 miles an hour, that's way harder than stopping a football play. But so when you do it in football, just a gigantic advantage. But just my thoughts. Again, Jose, that's a great comparison. Thank you for the 20, my friend. Nevada, Bernie Madoff was rich before his scheme and didn't need it. Imagine if after caught, he took the fraudulent fortune to make a larger fortune. I think the IRS would say, well, he didn't need the scheme. He's good. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, look, football, like anything, it comes down to, despite the fact there being 150, 180, 200 plays, whatever it is in a football game, it comes down to 5 or 6 plays. 5 or 6 plays determine whether or not you win the game, whether or not you blow out the game. It's always just it's a handful of plays that kind of determine it. And when you can find an edge on that stuff, so it can even be one thing. It can be something that they picked up, and Will Johnson picked up some sort of tell, and you get the pick. How big a play was that on the? And I'm not saying they were doing it last year because he wasn't there doing the chicken dance and pointing to the sky and everything else like that. But stuff like that, man, it can make a huge difference, even just on the smallest thing. And I always look, Barry Bonds had won like 3 MVPs before he started taking steroids. I mean, he didn't need steroids to be in the Hall of Fame, but then he became superhuman. And Michigan was going to be a good football team, but the cheating gave him that edge. The cheating gave him that competitive edge on those 5 or 6 plays that enabled them to, they went from being a 40-24 team to a 40-3 team, under Harbaugh's tenure during that. And it was all related to the cheating. It all came down to just little things, little edges, little advantages that they could determine from that, and it worked, and that's why it's illegal. I mean, if it was legal, everybody do it because it's not an expensive hack to do this, and that's why you got to get punished for it, because if you don't, then you've opened Pandora's box, and there's no putting it back at that point.
Absolutely. Brennan Shealy, thank you for the 20. Appreciate you, my friend. Congrats to you, Kirk, and the Scoop fam. You have a beautiful family, sir. Appreciate you, my man. And thank you for doing that. Again, it's been a great day. It was good to get home and still be able to podcast. Kim was good with it, and she's a monster. Again, it's her 3rd kid, so it's not. It never is like completely the same, but I'm just saying it's way different than the first one when you're just terrified of everything. But the third one. She had it unlocked. The nurses are great. I told her I'd come back and bring her if she wants ice cream again or more dinner. I went out and got her Cold Stone and Jimmy John's. That was what she wanted postpartum. So it was awesome. But yeah, I can't wait to boogie back and spend the night with her and watch some Hard Knocks. Should be a good one. Sean, thank you for the deuce. Congrats to you and your family. I appreciate that. My phone's been blowing up, and I appreciate all the well wishes. Kim will be back to her moderating soon. I don't think she's probably sleeping. I mean, I can't imagine her moderating after holding and feeding for the whole night, but I'll yell at her and make sure she's back to moderating.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Get back in there.
Come on, Kim. What'd you
Come
do
on, Kim.
You can't moderate. Keita, what more? Thanks for the deuce. What more can you say about your tweet last night? Nevada, what did we tweet last night? I don't run the Twitter. I get attacked like I run the Twitter, but I don't tweet. So I don't know what did we tweet last night.
No, we just tweeted about Michigan and the illegal access to the
got it
to the practice footage, and yeah, I mean that's all. I mean, like it's all there. I mean, this stuff's been there. The practice footage stuff has been out. That was the earliest stuff that came out. That was part of the reason why the Big Ten and the NCAA was notified when the computer forensics unit had picked up the stuff on Weiss's computer. That was the whole genesis for this for this investigation. So that's been out there for a long time. The only question really had been about how they access it, how they did it, and how the information was being disseminated. And I think they've been able to, well, I know they've been able to kind of crack that down now. And it looks like it was a little bit more widespread that Michigan was trying to use that catapult system. And as we went through in great detail last night, how teams access the catapult system, how they would do it, and Michigan did it, and that's what happened.
Got it. I'll make sure I like that because I love when I get bludgeoned over something. I'm like, what did I say now that I didn't say? Because I'm not on Twitter, but it's just like, oh my god, they're like, I hate you. I was like, what? I don't even know what I said, but it is funny because our Twitter, Nevada. Do you want to explain what our Twitter is? It's basically like a troll account. Like we troll people. It's not serious, but people just they get spicy about that. Do you want to say anything on that?
Yeah. Well, no, we don't break stuff on Twitter. We break stuff on BuckeyeScoop.com is our mothership. That's where we break everything. Anything that we want that we're going to breaking, we break on BuckeyeScoop.com. We then discuss it in more depth on the podcast, and then we'll troll people on Twitter. So if you want to get the breaking information, come to BuckeyeScoop.com. If you want to ask questions, discuss a little bit more in depth. That come here to the podcast, and we troll Michigan fans on the Twitter account. And like I said, Kirk doesn't run the Twitter account. I don't run the Twitter account, but it's just it's funny. It's funny to watch people respond to the Twitter account. I have no social media. I'm not on Instagram, this and that. Even though I did have a tweet. I had a tweet the other day for the Nevadabuck account that went for like 710,000 views.
You're so proud of that.
That was a good one. That was a good one. 710,000 views. That's a lot. That's a lot. That was a good one too. It was elegantly simple. It's about hammer incoming. And let me tell you what, Michigan fan, this is no troll, straight no cap, as the kids say. The hammer is incoming. Buckle up. I'm telling you, mark that down and hold Nevadabuck to it. Hammer incoming.
I mean, when you say that, like the Michigan fans are just on tilt. It is like 600,000 responses.
They should be on tilt. They should be on tilt. This is going to be bad, Kirk. If this was coming from Ohio State, dude, this is like that level 17 tsunami that's getting ready to hit. And then you see some of those idiots on the beach, and they're out there on the beach looking and going, "Oh, I'm going to be here. I'm going to film the tsunami." It's like, that's not a really good idea, guys. Okay, so you're bad judge. What's that bad idea jeans or whatever it was commercial on Saturday Night Live? This is a bad idea, guys. It is coming. It's going to be bad. The best thing you can do is get to high ground and just wait it out for the next 10 years and hope you guys get it. But it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad.
Yeah, I totally agree. Sean Rollins, thank you for the 20, my friend. Thank you for being on here. Thank you for being a wrench now. You've been doing great. You and Sean Schrock have been two great ads with Akeem and Devin and Kim. So we have 5 wrenches now. So I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for being an Ultra member as well. I hope you're doing good. Up in wonderful Worcester. Thank you, brother. J. Willie 75. This team is giving 2019 vibes. Do y'all agree? Nevada OH. God, I don't know. I mean, that 19 team was spectacular, but underachieving because of the Clemson game. I don't know if they had beaten LSU. I mean, that LSU team was pretty good, but I feel like this team's better than the 19 team. I think it comes down to Will Howard versus Justin Fields because I think across the board it's pretty similar. I mean, obviously Chase Young was so incredible that year. But across the board it's similar. Like we've got 2 good corners. Like when we had Okuda and we had Sean Wade playing nickel, and that was a pretty Damon Arnett. Like that was a loaded team, Jordan Fuller, but they were one and done in the playoffs, which is tough. I mean, when you've got a team like that, it's like that's when you get like kind of cash in, and we had that unfortunate ending with Olave running the wrong route versus the coverage, and Justin airmailed it and threw a pick, and I mean it sucked. I'm not blaming Olave, but he did get a misassignment on that. So I don't know. I mean, 19 vibes. It feels like I don't know what team this gives us vibes to, because this is a team these guys have been through a lot of pain. They lost the last 2 games. They've been beaten to death all off season. especially with the Michigan loss. Nobody cared about the Missouri loss, but the Michigan loss, 3 in a row. Like they've been through a lot. They have no jewelry, they have no rings, they have no gold pants. So I think that they've got a different type of motivation than like the 19 team. They came in with Haskins throwing for 50, and then he went pro, and we get Jay Fields and we get Ryan Day as a new coach and kind of shred the league. But yeah, that team won. They beat Michigan like 62-20 or whatever in 18. So I think it's a different motivation. But what are your thoughts, Nevada?
I think this team's way better than 19. I mean,
Yeah, I do
19,
too.
the defense was kind of the Chase Young show, and Chase was a phenom, obviously, that goes without saying. But this defense is just way more complete. I mean, when you're talking about your going from cornerbacks with Davison and Denzel, and then Jordan Hancock's your third, and Caleb Downs is your safety. I mean, it's really insane, and to have Trey and Quinshawn and J.J. Smith, who might be the best wide receiver in college football, and he's never played it down in college football. And then Mecca and Brandon and I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, heck, today, Larry Johnson comes out today, and he starts talking about Josh Mickens. Josh Mickens might be the sixth defensive end on his thing, and it's like, I mean, that talk about depth. You're talking about guys like we have depth upon depth upon depth. Guys that are just keep coming and keep coming, and you're going to need that in a season this long. You're going to need players that can go, that can get it done, that can contribute in real time if you need them. And Ohio State has it. I thought that look, the 19 team, obviously any team that came before this, you can look at the guys and look at their things in the NFL. And the only thing this team doesn't have is these guys haven't got to the NFL yet. But when we look back on this team is going to be like the 98 team or something. This is a truly exceptional group on offense and on defense. It's a team literally without weakness. I think our biggest question marks really truly are like, which Australian punter is going to punt for us, or place kicking. And when that's the stuff that's on your worry bingo card, you're in pretty good. You got pretty good ground. So now I think this team would have dog walk 19 personally. This is a really really good team, really really good team, and I'm glad they're starting out at number 2. I love that we're not number 1 that early. I love that the bullseye's not firmly on us from the very beginning.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Joe Drain, what is up, brother? Thank you for the 5. Congrats on the new little one, brother. Thanks, Joe. Joe is a great contributor on BuckeyeScoop.com. Does a lot of recruiting stuff for us. Writes some really nice articles. He's a stud, man. We got a really nice crew. B Moses is in here too. B Moses is a rising superstar with Funky. If you guys are not watching the Funky and B Moses show, which is usually on Sundays at 6, you guys are missing out because they had Justin Spear on, and it was. I've got more good feedback about that episode than a lot of episodes I've done. I mean, I've had people reaching out saying they're following Justin Spiro, they love that guy now, and they didn't know he existed until B Moses and Funky had him on. So make sure you check that episode out. Make sure you check those guys out. Kind of got a double header on Sundays going forward, and I think that's something you guys are really going to enjoy. Well, Nevada, really good show. I think we could wrap this thing up so I can go back and see my little dude in Kimbo in the hospital. Any final thoughts?
Nah, just big congrats to you, Kirk. That's what a great day. Anytime you have a kid, it's unbelievable. Anytime you have your third kid, you're 3 times blessed. And like I said, if you want to go shopping for 4 and 5, man, I'll come with you and we'll scout them out there. We'll have tryouts and everything else like that. And but I tell you, the only thing better than 3 is 4. Kids are such a blessing. They are instant entertainment, and you guys are so lucky, very very lucky. And congrats to you, big guy.
The only thing better than 3 kids is 3 kids and being able to podcast that night at the same time. Is that
is
not
the
amazing?
And
that is the best.
If Kim had been able to maintain moderation today, would have been the perfect day or something like that. But
I know we were that close.
We're that close.
She's like laying there dying, and she's like, if I could only ban this troll that says Kirk's a bad person. Kirk's so bad, and so is Nevada. They're bad people. We don't like them. Oh my God. Get a life. It's all good. All right, let's wrap this thing. Again, I appreciate you guys as always. Thank you for all of the well wishes. Again, I appreciate you guys so much. It's great seeing you guys. I was excited to do the show tonight. Again, if you guys enjoy this show, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. Again, we love you guys so much. Thank you for all the well wishes from Kim and I. Thank you, the Scoop family. Our staff's amazing. Keep patronizing our shows. Again, if you guys really want to do something huge, follow us on Apple Podcasts, follow us on Spotify. You can do it on your iPhone. It takes 5 seconds to do. Click on the podcast thing, type in Buckeye Scoop, click the Buckeye Scoop. We have one show now, and just click follow and leave us a 5-star review. It literally takes 30 seconds, and it does a huge amount for us. So, but yeah, I just appreciate you guys so much. Another huge show. I mean, we pour it into this, man. We really want this thing to be special, and we don't take it for granted that you guys have a lot of stuff that you guys could be watching. You guys choose to watch us, and we appreciate that. So, again, shout out to my Southern Ohio boys. We're going to be going to the river soon. I got to figure that out. Wanted to get through the delivery and everything. But like I said, it was a great day. So I'm kind of over the moon. He's super healthy. He's happy. He's doing great. So we're going to go and get a night in the hospital, and then we're going to be rolling back. But again, I just appreciate you guys so very much. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation, and thank you, Scoop family. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Go Bucks.